And we're back with RobLive Summer Edition. We're excited because we have great energy in the room today. Jim has carefully selected our guest this week, and he said, wait till you meet her. And she's everything that we thought she was, and a bag of chips. SUZI PICASO GONZALEZ, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Love the outfit.
Thank you so much.
Right, we talked about it earlier, the bright. And I was talking to Jim, and I talked to you a little bit off camera about this idea of energy, right? Yeah. It's unspoken. It just kind of fills a room. Yeah. And I've been trying to be more conscious of my energy lately. Like, okay, what are you bringing into a room? And I know that I shared with you guys that I had a little bit of a headache today. I don't know if it was dehydration or whatnot, but it was important to me to come in here and still have good energy, right? And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to feed off the people in the room. So I walk in, I see Jim, all right, a little bit. And I told you, I think my headache's going away, you know, because Suzi's got this energy that's so, you know, it's not overwhelming and it's not busy. It's just positive.
Thank you.
Is that the best way?
Yeah, thank you.
So we want to know where this all started.
Yeah, well, I mean, just talking about energy and walking in the room, I always tell people, like, your body language is everything, and people can read it when you walk in a room. So I try to be mindful of that. So when I walk in a room, I always try to say, how am I going to make my presence make those I'm around today feel better, right?
Yes.
So my mom used to tell me that she always would say, tomorrow's not promised. So how do you want to leave the last impression, the first and last impression you meet someone? How do you want them to think of you or remember you? Yeah. So if I walked in and I was just kind of like, can we get this over with? You'd remember me that way.
We've had those guests.
You know, like, can we hurry up and get it over with?
We have.
Yeah. So see, you know, and so that's why I'm like, I always look at it that way. Like, if today was my last day and you met me for the first time and this is the last time you saw me, you would know who I was. Like, I want to be genuine all the time. And that's just who I am and how I've been wired. And I think that's from my upbringing with my mom. I'm the youngest of 10 kids.
Oh, you guys are 10 kids. Shout out to Mom. Can we get a shout out? What's Mom's name?
Zulema.
Zulema?
Yes.
Zulema
Picasso.
Picasso, shout out. 10 children.
Right.
Yes.
And you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest. 5 brothers, 5 sisters. And she just, you know, she just had this hard drive about her. Just a really amazing work ethic. And then also a care for everyone. Like, if she had one slice of bread, she'd make sure everyone on the block had a little piece of it. Like, and the birds in the backyard. Like, she would feed the birds too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so having a mom like that, I feel like that really motivated me and kept my spirit high regardless of any situation. So
that's impressive. So I have this theory about having a lot of siblings, and it comes from my mother. She had, 14 brothers and sisters. I had my original 3 siblings, and then, through remarriage and others, but it was never a super large family. But my theory on that is that you learn immediately at an early age how to socialize, how to compromise, how to deal with the different personalities that now exist in your room or your house 24/7.
Yeah, definitely, because we all had to share everything, right? So hand-me-downs, I always got all of them because I was the youngest. And if my sisters, weren't my size, it was too bad. My mom would just sew them up.
Figure it out.
Yeah, but she would make our clothes to save money. My parents were married over 30 years, and then they divorced when I was about 3 years old.
Oh, I see.
So, it was... I say divorced in a sense where they weren't like really staying together until he left like a little bit after I was 5. But I felt like we all knew, like it was like at 3 years, when I was 3 at least, that's kind of when he checked out.
Yeah.
But when you come from a family that's together and all of us were like a family, and more so my older siblings, then there's that emptiness all of a sudden. And so when my dad left, he left and he never came back until I was 28
Oh,
years
wow.
old.
I was just going to ask how
Yeah.
present he was.
Yeah, no.
So this is mom just holding it down.
Yeah, just holding it down.
10 kids.
She had to work 3 jobs. She was a seamstress at Bailey's, which was downtown Visalia. And they used to make dittos. Like, I don't even know if you remember those jeans back in the day.
Dittos.
But anyways, ditto saddlebacks, like every color I had. And my friends thought we like had so much money, but really my mom made them. So she would bring them home from work. So
Nice.
I had all those pants, and she would take me to go shopping. She would always have me pick out ribbons and color, like fabric, just everything. And that was to help save money. And she took the time to do that when she would come home. I don't know how she did it.
So resourceful.
Yeah. So she was a seamstress, and then she worked as a foreman at Early California Foods, which was an olive plant in Visalia.
Okay.
And then on the weekends, she would paint walnut trees. She would paint, you know how they're like white on the bottom? So we would like go buy those trees, and she would make it seem like it was so easy. And she would be like, oh, look how pretty those trees look. I painted all of them. But that's like hard work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine. Those
What's
were
the
her 3 jobs.
agricultural purpose behind the paint?
I think it's to prevent certain bugs to get on those trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only been in the valley my whole life, and I'm just asking this question.
But I'm not
Did
an
you know, Jim?
expert.
Oh, I never did.
I was like, I
but
see
that
it.
I believe that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the age gap from the oldest kid to you?
5 years. My sister is 5 years older than me. And then after that, they were like almost all a year apart.
Okay.
So every year my mom was pregnant practically with all the kids.
All right. And so you went to school with your siblings?
Yeah. Well, yeah, some of them. My sister and my brother I did, because then the others were already starting to like go into high school while I was still in elementary.
I'm still trying to get over your mom's schedule.
Yeah,
Because
it
the
was crazy.
cooking and the cleaning, I'm sure you guys had to step in a lot at home and
Oh yeah,
help
we
run
did.
the house.
Yeah, and then she was very mindful of us. So she would always make breakfast. She would make pancakes, homemade biscuits, and have them on the table for us before we would go to school. So because she would go to work like at 2 or 3 in the morning to her first job.
Yes.
But she always made us breakfast. It was always on the table for us. We always had homemade food. She would always make that for us before she would leave.
On top of all this other stuff.
Yeah, on top of everything else.
Wow. I really need to step it up at home.
I know.
I've got
I don't
3
even
and
know
I'm
how
like,
she
what's
did it.
happening?
But I mean, back then, that's what parents did. I thought
Yeah.
like all parents did, but she did, and so she just made sure we didn't go without. Even though we weren't rich by no means, but we just, she just stretched her dollar.
Made it work.
Yeah, and made it work.
So where did you guys end up going to school?
So I went to Washington, which is a little elementary school there, kindergarten through 6th grade.
What side of town are we talking, Visalia?
On the
Oval?
east side.
Is this by the Oval? Or?
No, on the east side, like
okay.
Kind of like by Mooney,
Okay.
that whole area, like the east side of Mooney Boulevard.
We're going to talk about cruising Mooney in a minute.
Yeah, I heard that. That was so funny. But yeah, so we grew up on that side, and back then, when my parents moved into that neighborhood, we were only, I think there were 2 other Hispanic family that lived on that street. So it was
The rest
a
was
little bit,
white?
like, yeah. And so I think that my dad, he was very conscious of that. He just was very, he didn't like talk about race or anything. He just was like, we could be here. Like, this is our neighborhood.
We belong here.
Yeah. And so that was it. And I think I was like 12 when I realized like I had some Mexican in me. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I mean, we didn't talk about race.
Yeah.
Like, never. Because my best friend, she had long blonde hair. I used to put my little
Do you think that helped you?
t-shirt. Yeah. Oh, for sure. It did. Yeah, it definitely did. I think because we didn't talk about race back then. It was just about our friends on the block. And everybody would come to my house, and my mom would make us all food. And, everybody loved it at our house because it was just a bunch of kids. It was,
I think, yeah. And I think what you're referring to is probably something that I also experienced growing up, where people were just people. For
Yes.
example, when I was growing up, I would say, "Hey, Mom, I'm gonna go hang out with my friend. Who you gonna hang out with? Jim, right?"
Yeah.
And I don't know where along the lines it was like, well, is it gonna be white Jim or Black Cletus, or Latino Gabe, right?
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah, for
it
sure.
was just your friends,
Yeah.
and then later on we became more conscious of whatever that label or race was that we used as a reference point.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that I was just blessed being raised on that street, because I got to know all my friends. And then if I rode my bike past the 7th house, and I always would try to get to the 8th or 9th house, but my mom like had this sensory, like where she would know and she would be like, Susie, are you over there? Did you pass the house? Did you pass the
You
7th
passed
house? Yeah.
That was the line.
Yeah.
7 houses either way.
Yeah, I was just like trying to live back
Yeah.
then, but yeah, so anyways, it was good.
Were you a good
know.
student?
I was a good
You have
student.
2 teachers in the room.
I know. Oh, great. No, I was a good student, but I was very colorful. Like I loved art, and I like to talk, and I like to just learn by using my hands. And I think sometimes that was distracting, because teachers sometimes would want you to just be more focused on certain projects. And
we're getting better.
I know.
We're trying to embrace that more now, but back then we just like squash you. Like,
yeah.
Are you trying to be an active butterfly? Let's slow all that down.
Slow your roll, girl, because you're getting a little crazy. But no, it was, I mean, that I would have to say that was me. And I've always been that way.
How were your grades?
So I
grades?
think they were good. Yeah.
So then high school, you get to high school. Where'd you go? Are you
so,
Redwood Ranger?
Golden West.
Golden?
Yeah, I think I was the 2nd class at
Golden West. Not Grizzlies.
No.
Miners?
Yeah, they're miners. I think that's
Golden West Miners.
Yeah. So out off of McAuliffe, it was like nothing. There were no homes. It was just all orchards. Like it was kind of scary. And now it's all developed. Yeah. But I think growing up, not having my dad, there was a little bit of more freedom that I shouldn't have had.
I see.
Because my mom worked so much. But just kind of referencing back to growing up, when she would talk about financial responsibility, she would always tell me, like, I would have to, like, how do I figure out what I need whenever, like, I had a problem? If I said, Mom, I need to get these shoes. And then she would say, well, how are you going to get them? Like, money doesn't grow on trees,
What's the plan?
Yeah. So
that's the seed for entrepreneurship, right?
Yes, that's the seed. And so when I was 7, I don't know if you researched that story, but when I was 7, growing up, I loved Reese's peanut butter cups, and I would always go to Steve's Get and Go, which was like 4 blocks, like maybe 3 blocks away.
Is
from
that
our
still
house.
there? Is Steve still there?
Yeah, it's still there.
I'm gonna
The little
check that
Get
out.
and Go. On
I'm in
Santa
Westside
Fe.
once a week.
Yeah, check it out. Go right by there, Santa Fe and Tulare.
Okay.
And so I would walk to that little station, and I would get 5 Reese's peanut butter cups for a penny. And I loved them, And then one day I didn't have any pennies, and then I asked my mom, and she was like, well, what are you going to do? So I loved, for some reason, I would always look at faces, like not weird, but I would just see faces. And I think it's because my mom always wore her makeup every day. And so I used her Estee Lauder compacts and all the ones she didn't use anymore. And I took them on the side of the yard, and I set them up on the fence, and I used like cotton balls and Q-tips. And then I started my own clubhouse, and I charged my friends after school a penny to get in my clubhouse, so that way they could get their makeup done. I would do their makeup, and then that's how I earned my pennies at 7 years old. That's when I started my first business at 7.
Are you still in contact with some of those old friends?
Yes.
Do they bring up these stories?
All the time.
Susie, remember the Playhouse?
Yeah, they remember.
I bet for them, seeing you today makes a lot of sense to them, because, like, no, she was that way at 7.
Oh, yeah. No, they totally remember my clubhouse.
That was a great idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Susie's Clubhouse.
Yeah, it was Susie's Clubhouse, and I would charge them a penny to come in, and I would do their makeup and put little Q-tips, and then I would spray like Youth Do. It's like an older fragrance from Estee Lauder. I think it's like the first one she had, but anyways, that's what I would do with my friends.
That is cool.
Yeah. So fast forward, going to school, really like my passion then, I seriously thought either I really wanted to be a celebrity makeup artist at such a young age, because I loved fashion and makeup. And so then when I was going to COS, I started at Gottschalk's.
Yes.
At my first job.
Is that the Sequoia Mall?
Yeah,
Visalia Mall?
I think it's the Sequoia,
Sequoia
Mall.
Mall.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, I remember Aladdin's Castle.
Well, now I used to work part-time at Aladdin's Castle.
You did?
I did. Yes, I did.
Wow.
You're taking me
at
way
Aladdin's
back.
Castle. That was like the place. Right
Yes,
then,
it was,
back
right?
there. Yes.
And they had that shave ice place down the.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That was everything. Like, where do you go back then? You go
Yeah.
there.
Was this
So-
80s? Around the
Yeah,
80s?
it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 80s, in my opinion, the Sequoia Mall was popping.
100%.
And Visalia Mall wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of flipped.
Now it's flipped. Now that there's Nordstrom's Rack,
Yeah.
right, in the bookstore and all that.
So you were at Aladdin's
Yeah,
Castle.
for 2 minutes. But I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I had
Yeah.
only so many hours. But I worked at Gottschalk's and I started in Estee Lauder, and I didn't even get hired to work in Estee Lauder.
I would have said Clinique.
Yeah, no, I didn't work in Clinique. I started in Estee Lauder, and then I moved to Chanel.
Oh, okay.
And I worked for Chanel for 11 years and eventually became a trainer. So I would go to,
Yeah.
can you hear my stomach grumbling?
No.
Grumbling? Okay. Anyway,
No.
so yeah, so I started in Estee Lauder, but I started in the clothing department, and then one of the reps from Estee Lauder saw me, and she was like, "Would you ever be interested in working in cosmetics?" And I was like, "Yeah,
That was your whole thing.
that was my
And you
jam."
were doing the whole cosmetics on yourself this
Yeah.
whole time, right?
Yes, all the time.
So where did you start to really hone your look? You know, like how you would put the makeup together.
Mhm.
Did you go for professional training? Because I know you also worked at Milan, didn't you?
Yes.
Milan Institute.
Yeah. So, no, I didn't get any professional training besides what I got from working for Estee Lauder. So
Susie's Clubhouse was the training.
that was my training. Yeah, right there. I think when you have a natural ability to just see, see fashion and art and just technique, I think it's in you. I really do, because there was just some way, like something just in me. I always felt like, oh, that color would look good on her or whatever, and every face is different. And
Yeah.
so that's what I did. I started, doing makeup, training with Estee Lauder in San Francisco, and all my trainings for Chanel was in San Francisco. So I got to bring that element to the Valley,
Yes.
because there's like 10 years ahead of us sometimes with just fashion and everything like that.
So okay, so I have to ask you because you're a makeup artist. Little off topic here, but I need to know. Jim, you back me on this. Do you watch any football at all?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you remember the guy from Fresno State, Derek Carr?
Yes.
Okay, so Derek Carr, for years, I've argued with people that I'm pretty sure he's wearing at least a little guy liner.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you're a makeup artist, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
You
It
have
just
to.
it's a little Cleopatra, it's just like
Not-
a little
not-
too.
Not during the games, though.
No.
Yeah, during
But
the-
but when you see interviews and stuff, you're like, this guy's eyes are just jumping out a little too much.
Okay.
Is he wearing? Is there like?
Probably, but yeah, some guys.
So the makeup people, they touch you up, right?
Oh yeah, they do.
Because we don't have makeup artists yet.
Oh man,
Yeah, no.
all right. Well,
But they touch you up, right?
Yeah, definitely concealer and powder to minimize the shine and just to set it to make your skin look smooth.
I
Yeah.
see. I'm just be shiny faced till we get that budget. I want to tell you a funny makeup story. Okay, so my brother and my mom, they started dabbling in extra work in Hollywood, right?
Okay.
When I was still in high school, because my brother had already graduated. He was about 5 years older. And so he got to be an extra in this Universal Studios movie called, Jim, what's the name of the movie where the guys, I can remember, they're older guys and they're getting on their bucket list. They want to do all these crazy things. And I can't
I
think
know
of,
which movie. I know. I'm
they
trying to
do the
think
running
name
of the
it.
bulls.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
And all those guys. Billy, what's his
Do you
name?
remember? He's like, what?
No, I
can't-
know the movie. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
anyway,
Totally.
They go to Vegas. They do
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
so it's a big budget film, right?
Yeah.
And they needed a ton of extras to do this bull run. And so my brother calls me. He's like, I've been at Universal Studios for the last 2 weeks. I'm making 100 and something a day, which at the time, this was 1991.
Yeah.
Like, wow. He goes, I want you to take a day off of school, come down and be an extra. And I had all these ideas of what that meant, right? I had no
Yeah.
idea. I'm a kid from, you know where London's at? It's in Tulare County.
Yeah,
next to Danube.
yeah.
So I'm from London, right? So very far removed from Hollywood. So I go down there with them. We're at Universal Studios, back lot, security, the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? And they said, okay, so the makeup lady's going to come around. I'm like, oh, right?
Yeah.
So I'm picturing the whole.
Yeah, like what?
I'm like, what? Cool. And so we went, they took us to wardrobe, and it was just rows and rows of thrift store white pants and white shirts, various size, whatever.
Yeah.
So I put that on, and then they give you the red sash, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then the makeup lady comes by, and I'm like, all right, she's coming. And I'm waiting for her, and she just had a bucket of dirt.
Oh my God.
She's rubbing dirt. Because you had to look like you were running with the bulls, right? That was my makeup. And I was like, I had my face out. I was like,
and she didn't even do anything to you.
Dirt. I was like, all right. So that was my one makeup experience.
Oh, well, it was fitting for the shoot right
It
there.
was.
So it was all good.
It was.
Yeah.
So for sure, Derek Carr has guy liner.
Yeah, he has
Okay,
guy
there we
for
go.
sure. All of them do.
Confirmed, Jim.
Yep, all of them do.
Is that what you thought? Or where were you at on that one?
No, I knew they always had eyeliner.
You did?
Yeah, yeah. But
I should have just asked you.
I didn't know when they did it. So yeah.
Okay, so getting back to your story, you go through high school. And okay, so we're both high school teachers, so we need to know who Susie was in high school. Were you the cheerleader?
Yeah.
Were you the athlete?
Yeah. So in junior high, I was a letterette. I was the letter A at Valley Oak. I was so proud of my A.
Valley Oak.
Yeah. So Valley Oak and Visalia. And then at Golden West, I was in cheerleading a little bit, not like 100%, but I wasn't really into sports. So I was more into like campaigning for someone who wanted to run for president on campus. That was me.
You're the campaign manager.
Yeah, I'm the campaign manager.
You're like, I'm not going to run for it, but I know how to get this thing done.
I'm like, I can get you to the finish line.
And
so that was me.
Did you charge? Did you charge for that?
They had to buy me lunch,
Consulting fees.
like snacks, consulting fees, 100%. Yeah, because I wouldn't.
Especially if you win.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was like that cheerleader person. Like I was in charge.
ASB.
Like, yes, all of that, trying to stay focused and just keep, helping others. Like that was my heart, my jam. But in high school, I think I got kind of lost when I started feeling like I think I failed a test in math because math wasn't my strong suit. Like I wasn't.
I'm with you on that one.
So when I failed, I started feeling like I wasn't smart enough, and I don't know, something turned off in me, in my head, and I lost focus. So I didn't do well.
You feel like you lost confidence?
I lost confidence in who I was as like a person. And I think you go through that when you're in high school. Yeah. I think you kind of like hit like an area in your life where you're kind of like, am I smart like them, or am I not smart enough? Or, and then I just kind of felt like, I felt like I was being, honestly, I just kind of felt like my mom was getting older. I felt like I was stressing her out with some of the things I wanted to buy. Like kids think about that. Yeah. Kids think about that. Like we don't think about it as much when you're that age, but as you get older, then you reflect and you think, why was I so worried about that? Well, I was worried because I could see my mom stressing, and she was a single mom, and my brothers were already leaving. When they had jobs, they would always help my mom. Like my brothers were like my dad. They were the best. Like they would say, let's go school shopping, because they knew how I was. Yeah. Like, they would always take me school shopping, and I'm so grateful that they were a part of my life in that way, right? But
let me tell you what's so impressive about that, because I had a similar experience with my older brother. When you think about their age, right? Let's say that they were buying you school clothes, and they were between the ages of 16 to 18.
Yeah.
There's so many things that a young man that age wants to purchase for himself.
Yeah.
And yet here these guys are thinking about you.
Yeah. No,
to me,
that's
that's another level of maturity. I remember my brother, he worked at a packing house for a whole summer once, and then split his summer check with me so I could have nicer school clothes. And he was about 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought about my own selfish 16-year-old self. I was like, wow, I was nowhere near where he was.
That's awesome.
So I really want to recognize your brothers for stepping up.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to them. And they've always been just wonderful human beings to me. Like being the youngest and having that age gap, and then them being responsible like that. I know there were times that it was it was like there was anger. I know there was, because they had to grow up. You know,
Yeah.
and they had to take
Yeah.
on this responsibility that
Like-
my dad should have
Yes.
handled
And they're
instead
like,
of
I can't be who I
Yeah.
want to be right now because dad's not pulling his weight.
yeah.
And I love my
exactly.
sisters, and so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, they didn't want to see us go without.
Yeah.
So they were like, what can we do to help? And I think my mom's guidance and care and just about like love for others was instilled in us at such a young age that they saw that, like, she's my sister, I'm going to help her and I'm going to get her whatever she needs. So I never felt poor. Like, I never ever felt poor. But there was when my dad left, they had one Cadillac and he took it. And
He took the car
he took
with.
the car. And so my mom didn't have a car. She had to
Wow.
walk to work, or one of her friends would pick her up and take her to work because they worked on the same street. But my mom, for so long, until my older brothers got a car, she didn't have a car. So she would use a taxi.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we would have to do when we were that age, when I was that young. But I thought a taxi was like a limousine service.
Oh,
because
yeah.
she would make it seem like it was so awesome. And I think that goes back to how our parents speak to us about the way we're raised.
Yeah.
Because they could either say and one thing about her, she never talked bad about my dad till the day she died.
Okay, she deserves a movie.
Yeah,
We're giving her a
I
movie.
wish she would have, but she never talked bad about my dad. Ever,
Wow.
ever. She never talked.
This
Like,
is-
she never said, like, "Can you believe your dad left me with all you kids and I had to get 3 jobs?" No, she never did. She would just say, "Pray for him. He has a drinking problem, and it's probably best that he's trying to find himself. Like, let's just pray for
Wow.
him." And I am grateful that she was that way,
Yeah,
right?
and
But
I'm-
there was times I was angry because I'm like, you don't deserve someone like this. You know,
Yeah.
he didn't deserve her.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she would call these taxis and they would pick us up and then we would go grocery shopping. And when we would come back home, the taxi driver would help take the bags out for us. Like the yellow taxi cab, as yellow as my outfit.
He knew.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he would take the groceries in the house. And I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
And I shared this little story with my students when I was teaching at Milan about, there was a time when I went to school and I told one of my friends, if this guy Mike, because I remembered his name because my youngest brother's, his name is Mike.
Yeah.
And I said, "Does Mike pick you guys up in the yellow taxi?" And he was like, "Taxi? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like he picks you up, he takes us grocery shopping, and then he helps my mom bring in the groceries. Does your mom call Mike?" Like, I was just being nice, like
Yeah.
talking about it. He's like, "No, we have a car." And I'm like, "Well, you guys are missing out because I'm telling you right now, Mike will freaking do all kinds of stuff. He takes us wherever we need to go." But you know
Wow.
what? I'm like, so like when I think about that, it just makes my heart happy because my mom made it seem like it doesn't matter what situation we're in. We don't have a car. I have all you kids, but we're still doing it. And
You know what that reminds me of?
what?
There's a movie called I think it's called "It's a Beautiful Life." Do you remember that
Oh,
movie?
Who's in that movie?
So
I'm
it
trying
was
to
an
remember.
Italian guy, and he wrote it, directed it, and he's the star of it.
Okay.
But he's in a concentration camp
Oh,
with
okay.
his youngest son, and he wants his son to survive, and so he makes the camp into a huge game. He says, "Hey, we're gonna play hide and seek right now, and right now we need you
Okay.
to hide and don't let anyone catch you, or else you're not gonna get any dessert."
Oh my gosh.
And so he
I-
was taking this extremely awful situation
Yeah. Yeah.
and making it seem like it was a fun game so that his son, so protecting his son from all of the
All the-
horrors of it all.
Yeah.
And not to say that, your situation was a concentration camp, but there was definitely some adversity there that your mom shaped into what
Yeah.
felt right.
100%. And to have a mom who had, to deal with so many stressful situations, she could have been angry.
Yes.
And my mom never cussed. My mom didn't drink or
Oh
smoke.
my God.
And she used to tell me, God blessed me with all these kids, and so I'm going to take good care of you. And she never remarried because she loved my dad. She never remarried again. And she would be like, why am I going to marry another man so he can tell me what kind of food he wants? And like, I'm going to have to wash his clothes or whatever. I got you kids to take care of. I have enough of you. Like, why would I want to add someone else? But I always would tell her mom, like, you're like the best woman ever. Like, you could find someone to love you as I got older, right? And then she's like, well, they probably wouldn't have enough money. Like, she would always say that. Like, I'll see if I, she always loved Robert Redford. And she was like, your last name would be Redford if you would have given me a chance. I'm like, oh, I would have been Susie Redford, right?
Yeah.
Like, she just loved him. But anyways, but yeah, so I mean, that was a huge piece of who I am.
So now you're forcing me, and I don't know how Jim's feeling, but I feel like I have to really step up my parent game. I have no excuses. After your mom, I have zero.
No, it's all
right,
good.
Jim?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So I want to ask you a little bit about this, and I wish I had a better term for it, but it's this idea, and especially for young women, to have to grow up and go through life early on without their fathers.
Yeah.
Right. And so, for lack of a better term, we call them daddy issues.
Yes.
Right. And I talked to my daughter. I took her to Shave Ice yesterday because I try to spend time with her one-on-one. I have one daughter.
Yeah.
She's 12 now. And so we're driving to the Shave Ice and we're having this conversation. And so I say, hey, Maddie, have you ever heard anyone reference something as like a daddy issue? Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah. And I go, what is that?
Yeah.
And I want to know. And she says, well, it's when you're raised without, the absence of a father, and that it forces some stuff that happens. Sometimes you seek extra attention, or you're angry, or it makes you less secure. And I said, wow, that's good, Mija. I'm glad you know that. And I said, I hope you understand that I try to be really present in your life because I don't want you to ever feel those things. She goes, I know, Daddy, but sometimes I see that in my friends.
Oh, see.
Do you feel like you had any of those emotions with the absence of your father?
Oh, 100%. I know I did as I got older, because then my friends had their dads and they were being loved and nurtured and, just doing dad things that dads would do. And my mom was my mom. My mom was my mom and dad. So, but it was different to not have him there. So I lost focus in high school. And so by my senior year in high school, I was married, divorced, and I had a child. And I share that story
By your senior year?
By my senior year in high school. And that is where I lost that piece where I was telling you, where I just kind of was like, nobody is paying attention to me. Everybody's doing their own thing. I'm not as smart because I failed that math test because I wasn't good in math. And I seeked attention from someone who I shouldn't have, I was a freshman, he was a senior. Like, I just thought, oh, I'm a cheerleader, he's a football player. I just thought that was the whole way it should have been. Yeah. And, I winded up in a bad situation. So
you were a
teen mom.
Teen mom.
Yeah, a teen
mom. What was that like for you?
So when I became a teen mom, I thought I could just continue to go to school at Golden West. But my counselor told me that she said these words: people like you have to go to Sequoia. And that's a continuation in Visalia. Yeah. And so she was like, people like you, like she was basically saying, like, I made a bad choice and you're going to have to live with it. And now you can't come to school here anymore. Right. So that's basically what it was. And I'm like, what? I wanted to stay here. I don't want to go to Sequoia. And then she was like, no, you have to go there because you're pregnant. So I went to Sequoia, and that was the best thing I really could have done because Linda Cecina was the teen mom director, whatever, of the program that they had there. And she really was such an awesome, person in my life. Just the way she taught and the way she made you feel better about yourself and not feel bad because you were in the situation, which at the beginning, I really didn't feel that bad. And so when I talked to Linda, I was telling her, I still want to just be me. I'm like, I can't help it. Like, I am in this situation. And then she was like, hey, do you want to go talk to other kids at schools at other high schools about what you're going through? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go talk to them.
Wow, at that age.
At that age, I said I
Wow.
would go talk to
Was
students.
that the beginning of your motivational speaking career?
That was definitely
Wow,
the
so
beginning.
you were in high school.
In high school.
And so here's what's impressive about that. A lot of times when you become a teen mom, you give into and buy into the judgment and the the harassment, even sometimes harassment or labeling that happens. Reason I know my sister was a teen mom at 15, and I remember, it was such a hard time for her.
Yeah.
And for you to turn that into a motivational speaking career,
that
it's
was
kind of like your mom.
Yeah.
Hey, here's the tough situation.
It is what it is. And I just felt like there has to be other teen moms out there. And I knew there were. Like there was like two of my friends from Golden West. They both got pregnant at the same time from the same guy. I know this sounds crazy, but it was true. Like they were both in my class. And it was sad because I'm like, this has to be happening. And so Linda Cicina encouraged me to talk to other students. And so that's what I did. I would go to Matt Whitney and Golden West and talk about what I was going through as a young teen mom.
After having your child or?
No, while I was pregnant.
While you were pregnant? It's just amazing.
While I was pregnant.
Wow.
Because I wanted people to see that this isn't the road to take. Like I wanted to let them know, be smart, that was protect yourself. That was my message. Protect yourself. I wasn't boasting about, oh, I'm this teen mom. No, I was like, all of my world just flipped upside down. You guys saw who I was. You knew who I was. I was a cheerleader. I was, captain of this, gymnastics. And then in 2 seconds, anything can happen in 2 seconds.
Was this your freshman year or your
my sophomore
year? So you go into freshman year and then sophomore year.
Yeah.
You're a teen mom.
Yeah. Sophomore, junior year, because I was 17. I was 16 when I was pregnant, and then 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you finish out your high school career at Sequoia, or did you return to Golden?
No, I stayed at Sequoia.
Okay.
And then in that bad relationship, people sometimes promise you things that things are going to be different.
Yeah.
And he promised the world if we moved to LA, and he knew I wanted to be a celebrity makeup artist. So I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to go to LA, blah, blah, blah. Things didn't change. So I wound up coming back to Visalia. And
so you did go to LA?
Yeah. So I did go to LA, to Panorama City. I lived in Northridge. Worked there for just a little while, and then I came back because that relationship was toxic and he was physically and mentally abusive. So I had to get out of that situation. And so when I called my brother, he totally just came and picked me up and brought me home. And he was like, it's okay. You know what? You're going to just start all over, and we're going to help you through this. And so he did. He helped me just start all over and then just start back on the path of who I was. That's the thing. I never allowed someone who didn't believe in me to make me seem like I couldn't go as far as I wanted. And I had to stop believing other people had control over my life. How did you
identify that? How did you figure that out? Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So I think it was when I was hearing words from him and others that were saying, you're not going to be a celebrity makeup artist, and you're never going to make that amount of money that you want or whatever. I think hearing those words of you're not going to do it, when I've grown up all these years of hearing that I am going to be successful regardless of my background, that outweighed it. Like that outweighed those negative thoughts.
And that was coming from your mom?
Yeah, that was coming from my mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good old mom.
Yeah. So, it's true. Like our thoughts just become our habits. And then our habits become our actions. I really believe that, because if you think you can do anything, if you think you're a winner and you think when I walk in this room, people are going to respect me, then they will, because that's how you carry yourself. But if you walk in a room and you're like, oh, I don't have this credential, or I don't have this certificate, or I'm a teen mom, and you're walking with your head down, then people sometimes will treat you the way you are accepting of yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, how are others going to believe in you?
Yeah.
So anyways, that was a tough patch in my life, but I was able to get through it. And then fast forward, because I know we don't have all day here, but I
No, no, keep
eventually
going. This is a
became
great story.
I eventually became a celebrity makeup artist. I eventually
What?
yeah, so
Okay,
I
so
did
tell us
a
about
lot
that.
of makeup. So I after leaving Gottschalk's 13 years, I went to work for CSET, and that's
CSET.
Community Services and
Yes.
Employment Training.
So I was just talking about, I don't know if she's still the director, but it was Mary.
Mary Alice Arcega, I think
Yes.
is her last name. Yeah.
Is she still?
Fetcher. Yeah, she's still there.
I need to call her.
Yeah.
Need to reach out
And
to her.
I was there when Carolyn Rose was the director, and she was there forever, and I
Really?
love her. Yeah, she was amazing.
So what did you do for CSET?
So for CSET, I worked through for a grant that was through Tulare County Workforce Investment Board, and I was hired to work at Porterville High School teaching professional development and teaching students how to get a summer job or how to even just partner up with the business mentor. So my job for CSET was to recruit 60 business mentors and match them to their career path
What an
with the student.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's their Partnership Academy of Business, the PAB,
Okay.
the PAB program. Have you ever
Yes.
been out there to check it out?
I know I remember going with her and she gave me a tour and there was classrooms.
Yeah, it's so
there,
cool. They
and I
have a
was like, "What?"
store. They have their own little coffee shop, but it's like
I've got to go
all
back.
business. It's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we got to take them to Fresno State, go through the Sid Craig Entrepreneur Program. They all received certificates. So that was
And
my
you
time with that was
organized all
my
that.
thing right there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got to tie in like that natural entrepreneur blood in me. Just was
Yeah.
able to
From 7 years old.
all the way up. Yeah.
Is
So
Susie in the Playhouse just replicated on a larger scale.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that was my first introduction into into education really, because 4 years on the campus, my office was there. It was the satellite campus at Porterville High School, working with CSET, and CSET really gives you a platform to understand community and all facets of the community. So I loved it. It opened the doors to meet my passion in council and serving on boards
Yeah.
and how to make things happen in the community. Like that really opened the door to that passion.
That's what I feel when I talk to you, when I see your accomplishments, and is that you have this really clear idea on how to make something a reality.
Yeah.
And that's so empowering when you say, "Hey, Susie, I got this dream and I want to do this podcast." You're like, "Oh, okay." And then you make it real matter of fact.
Yes.
You don't make it this, "Oh, good luck. I don't know about,"
Yeah. No, I try to find resources and ways
Yes.
to make it happen.
And that builds people
yeah.
like me, the dreamers. Like, we need people like you,
yeah. No, it's
fellow
important.
dreamers who have the tools.
Yeah, and to surround yourself around individuals like that, because if you're around naysayers or people who don't believe it, it's because they don't believe they can do it. So they're trying to take your dream down.
Hard to see that when you're younger, huh?
Yeah, it is. It
You're
really
like,
is.
"Oh, maybe he's right." So let's talk about Suzy Q.
Yeah. So SUZI Q
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics. So when I launched SUZI Q Cosmetics, it was after I opened my boutique. So I opened a boutique in Lindsay downtown. It was called Picasso's Passion Inc. And I sold clothing and accessories. And then I was still doing makeup for weddings and on like little commercial shoots and things like that. I would do makeup.
Yeah.
And go on location to do makeup. But eventually I opened I launched my cosmetic line called SUZI Q Cosmetics.
I like how you say this so matter of fact. Jim, I
Yeah.
opened this line of cosmetics. I'm like, "What?"
yeah. So I
see, this is where I need to fix myself, because I don't know about you, Jim, but I start thinking about all the obstacles to open a line of cosmetics that would keep me from even considering that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where and you're just like, "Yeah, no, we're doing a line of cosmetics." We're what, Susie? Yeah.
No, I mean,
Fill
I
out
think
the
it's
paperwork.
just
Let's go.
switching. Yeah, no, I think it's just switching your mindset to believe you can do it,
Yeah.
because I couldn't call J-Lo as much as I wanted to. I couldn't. And I was like, what do I need to do? So I just researched. I mean, this wasn't even before, this was back in 2004. So it wasn't like there were a lot of connections to different things.
Yeah.
But I say to myself all the time that if someone tells me no, it's no with you. I'm going to move on to the next person until I hear
Oh,
yes.
I love that.
Like, you may have said no, but that's no with you. So then we must not be a good partnership.
Okay, we got to repeat that one. Audience, listen to this one again.
Yes.
Go ahead, say it again.
If you come across someone who tells you no,
Yes.
it's no with you. It's just that one person. That one person doesn't guide your life and doesn't make the rest of you being successful or not. No. So if it's no with you, then I'm going to move on to the person who says yes. I want a yes person. That's who I want.
Okay, so here's the I don't know, Jim, if you ever had this friend, but this is the, I guess, simpler version of what you just said. When you go to when you used to go night clubbing, right? You go to the nightclubs, dancing, whatever. There would always be that one guy in the group who would ask every girl in the place, if she wanted to dance or to hang out or for, if she wanted a drink. And the rest of us were so like, no, it's the embarrassment of the rejection or the no, I'll be ruined for the night. But you always had that one friend just had real thick skin and just like, hey, you want to dance? No. Hey, you want to get a drink? No. And he would just move on, real matter of fact. And lo and behold, by the third or fourth song, he either had a dance partner, or he was drinking with somebody. But it was because he approached it like what you said. He didn't say that that no one in the club found him attractive or wanted to dance.
Yeah.
But he just had to find the right person.
Yeah, he had to find the person who
said
yes.
That requires a special mindset.
It does.
And some thick skin, right?
Yeah, it does. It does require that because especially coming from the youngest of 10, a single mom, a teen mom, like all these things I could label myself. I chose not to label them as those things because I chose to think in my head, I had to go through those things in order to make me stronger and to have the strength to meet what's next in my journey.
To be this version of
SUZI be this version of who I am.
Yeah.
Right? So all those things played into where I was in each stage of my life. So I didn't feel intimidated or feel less than like I did when I was in high school in that one period where I felt was dark. I felt
and
like
even then you were motivational speaking.
Yeah, it was just for 2 minutes. But you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, even then nobody could take away my light. And so I always tell people, nobody can take away your light unless you let them. Like, I'm not going to allow you to sit in my mind rent free and be negative. Like, I have in the morning, I could either train myself to get up 20 minutes early to work out, or I'm going to train my brain to say, I'm going to sleep 20 minutes, like every single day. Like, no, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to do Pilates, whatever it is that I need to do to help my health or whatever. But we're only in charge of ourselves. Nobody else is. I can't point the finger. I can't blame anybody. I don't think how I winded up being a teen mom was my mom's fault. I don't think it's my dad's fault. I have to take responsibility for myself. Like I just went down a path that I just made a wrong choice at that time. And I got through it. And thank God I did, because I could have winded up in a really bad situation, but I knew I deserved better and I wanted more for my life. And when you want that, you don't settle for anything less. You don't.
SUZI Q Jam number 2.
You know what? What's funny, Rob, is we've had a lot of good guests on here, and she just hit another. We had Ernie, we had a couple others in the past, and they always come out with these brilliant comments, these little bumper stickers. We should write these on the wall somewhere, right?
Yeah.
There you
the
go.
Gems.
Yeah.
No one can take away your light.
No, nobody
unless
can.
you give them permission to. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, unless you give them permission.
The no one. What did you say on no?
Oh, the no is it's no with you, but I'm moving on to the person and that's going to say yes. It may be no with you, but I'm going to move on until I find the person who says yes.
And knowing that you have something of value to offer is the premeditated approach.
Right. That's
like,
everything.
oh no, SUZI Q Cosmetics. Yeah, no, you're missing out. All right, we're going here.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and I share that personal piece of everything because it's important that people understand that it's not always easy. Like, not everything's easy. And I think sometimes people expect the easy route and everything's just going to come your way. You know, with my cosmetic line, I had to make choices with investing at a young age. I was still young, you know. When I worked for CSET, I was 29. I was still hustling all the way through and still on this journey of, I want to get to Hollywood. I want to do makeup. And when I had my store, I got this, I had launched a website. I had this guy who did websites, who was also a tattoo artist and just super creative. So I was like, this is the guy. He has to do my website. And he did such a good job. So good that Nancy Borgnine, do you know Ernest Borgnine? He's like an older actor.
No.
He's already passed on, but
We're going to look him up.
look him up. Yeah. So
Say his name again?
Ernest Borgnine.
Guys, look that up. Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah. So Ernest Borgnine, for years, like in so many different shows. I mean, like when you see the different movies.
Wait, soap opera?
No, movies.
Movies.
Just movies. Yeah. His daughter, Nancy Borgnine, she did all the red carpets for like the Emmys, the Oscars.
Oh, wow.
The ESPY Awards.
All the big ones.
Yeah. So she saw my website and she was putting together the Latin ESPY Awards.
Oh,
so Oscar
yeah.
De La Hoya, Carmelo Anthony, all of them were going to be there.
Yeah.
And she left me a voicemail. And I seriously thought when she said, oh, Susie, you know, I heard about you. I see your line. We'd love to hire you to come out here to do makeup.
What?
Yes. When I got that message on my regular phone, like not a cell phone, I was like, this, you know what? I called one of my friends and I was like, you guys better not be messing around because if I call this number back, I'm going to sound stupid. She's like, no, I didn't call. I wasn't me. So I called her.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was her. And she's the one who opened the door for me to get into the Universal Studio. That's where we would do we were on all those different backlot room.
Okay, you were back in there?
Oh yeah, the back lots all the time. We would
so
do
where
all
the tour
private-
tour goes through.
Yeah, through the tour. Yeah.
So do you
all
know where
those-
that one street is that looks like Europe? Like they use it to be Spain and they
Oh
use
yeah,
it to,
yeah.
So that's the one that I got to work on with that. City Slickers was the movie.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So where does the makeup trailers or where are you guys at?
They're in one of the lots, whatever lot number we were in.
Yeah.
But every event was different. Like most of them were on Sunset Boulevard, like Studio City. There's hotels there
Yeah.
that we would go to, and then it depends on what season it was, right? And then the celebrities would come on the red carpet.
And so you were on all these.
Yeah, like doing all that.
I know you're not. I don't know what the rule is on this, but we
Yeah.
want to hear some of the names of who you were working with.
So I did all the cast of Zach and Cody, Sweet Life
Oh,
on Deck,
yeah,
all
yeah,
of them,
the
London,
twin brothers, right?
Debbie Ryan, William Shatner, right?
William
Shatner. Yeah,
Shatner,
I did
yeah.
his makeup.
Did you know that his face
I
was
think
turned
he has
into
rosacea.
No,
His
he's
skin
Michael
is
Myers.
yes.
So red.
You know the Michael Myers mask
Yes.
was
On
all it was
Halloween.
an old William Shatner mask.
Oh my
Of
gosh.
his face.
I
And then
didn't
they
even know
colored
that.
yeah.
That's cool. I
so,
didn't even know that.
so you worked on
Yeah, so I
Captain Kirk's face.
Captain Kirk's face.
How's his
Yeah.
skin?
I think he has rosacea.
What's
kind of red.
rosacea?
It's red. It's like it's just really sensitive.
Oh, okay.
So he always
Say
needs
heat
to
or
have-
whatever and
He always needs to. It's kind of like it's just like a dry. Your rosacea is when you really have really dry skin, and
Mm-hmm.
so he has really dry cheeks and like on his forehead. The cast of The Office.
The
I got to do the
what?
cast of The Office.
The Office
yeah.
cast. I love those guys. What's his name? The one who did 40-Year-Old Virgin. The lead,
Oh.
Michael.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
What is
I
it?
can't,
I
I'm
know
losing
you're-
names today, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
you worked on
I
him
totally know.
and those
Yeah.
other guys.
Yeah, and so
When you work on people,
mhm.
how long are they in the chair typically?
Usually like 45 minutes to an hour.
Each person?
Yeah, each person. Depending on what's happening and to what degree they need to have makeup. Like if they don't need eyelashes or anything else added, then it could be a little bit faster. But most people need lashes and just a little bit fuller coverage.
So male or female, you're getting the lashes.
But no, the men don't usually have lashes. They usually just need like concealer and powder, pressing powder to help minimize the shine when they go on the red carpet. Like Carmelo Anthony, I had to do his makeup, and when I would do his makeup, I just would make it to where it looked natural. Like you can't even tell he has makeup, but he didn't have that shine.
yeah.
So it just photographs better.
Is it like, because I got a haircut today for the show,
Whoa,
right?
it looks
And
good.
thank you. But you have that conversation with the hair. She's like, hey, what are you doing today? And I was telling her, I'm going to be on the show. And,
Yeah.
we're going to have SUZI Q with us. And, right. So we're talking, do you talk to the people when you're working on their faces?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
And is it kind of like me and my hairstylist where I say way more than I expected?
Oh yeah, it is. It's like a therapy session.
Okay,
but
it
it's
is.
okay. But it's
Yeah.
all right. I like to listen. So yeah. It's
And
all
what
good.
have you kind of learned with all these years of working with people on such an, because it's kind of a trust thing, right? Like, you're going to make me look good on camera.
Yeah.
What have you learned about people from that experience?
Well, I learned that just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean you have self-confidence in yourself. Like, you think when you're sitting someone in your chair that's a celebrity that's going on set,
Yeah.
and you really get to know them raw without the cameras, they're just like us, and they're very vulnerable, and they just want to look good, but they don't want to like show off. Certain people, right? Some people are different, but for the most part, I feel like they're just regular people, and they don't like, I tried to stay in control, like not be starstruck or anything like that whenever I would do makeup, because it's personal. You're in their face.
Who was your
So,
favorite to do makeup on?
I really like Debbie Ryan. She
Debbie
even
Ryan.
invited me to her sweet 16th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you go?
And Selena Gomez was there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and
So you went to the
twin
party?
boys. Oh, yeah. Because I had to be in the back to do her makeup for her
Oh, okay.
party.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of her friends came through, and I would do their makeup before they went out to the.
Debbie Ryan.
Yeah. And she was only 16, but she got to have her birthday at a club in Hollywood.
Nice.
Yeah. She was just living. But she was sweet. But yeah, and then I think that the best part of working in the industry was I would volunteer at battered women's shelters, and I would do makeup on women who were abused and maybe had scars on their face from whatever situation happened.
Yeah.
And I just would try to enhance their features, right? Because I would always tell people, you don't want makeup to be the first thing they see when you walk in the room. They want to see your eyes look bright. You know, I like wearing bright lipstick, but that doesn't mean like I can pull it off. Like, I don't want to do that on just everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I want people to look natural. So that was my reason for doing makeup, is just to help enhance their natural beauty.
And then indirectly kind of build their confidence.
Yeah,
and,
their self-confidence.
but you kind of look at every face is different. It's a different canvas.
Yeah, it's a totally different
So
canvas.
it's not a cookie cutter thing. Like, okay, we're gonna go eyes. We're gonna go.
Yeah, and it's different because I don't know what they're gonna wear, and I need them to look. It needs to complement their outfit, and so everybody's different.
Did you ever have to give any like constructive feedback? You know, because like sometimes, and Jim, I'm sure you've seen this on TV. You're like, wow, that's probably not the right color for you. You know, makeup or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I would have to help with just maybe the shade of the foundation, or tone down the brows to where they don't look spocky, or you know what I mean? Like, or bring it down a couple notches, girl, because that's a little out of control, right? Because it's hard.
But it's a sensitive conversation to have, right?
Yeah, and I
like, what do you mean?
I say
SUZI?
it kindly, but I do just share with them, like, you know what would really frame your eyes?
Yeah.
Is toning it down a little bit, or not using black instead of using brown, where it would make your eyes stand out more.
Yeah,
but
just the way.
But it's funny, and I know SUZI enough to know that her personality you could fall in love with. So I know that the people that she's working on and stuff love her as a person and stuff. So because of the confidence you have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just whatever you want, Mr. Shatner, it's like, okay, whatever you want to wear, I don't care. But you're bubbly, you're energetic and stuff. So I could see them being
trusting her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then when you build that trust, I think that makes a huge difference. And I'm not coming from trying to judge. I'm coming from sincere, like, I want you to be your best and look your best. So let's try this, or let's try that. And so I feel like sometimes people who I work with, they'll say, you tell them, SUZI, because they'll take your word. Like, they appreciate how you come off. So that's how I come off with that. I try to come off with kindness and not be like being judgy. Yeah.
And okay, you don't have to say any names, right? Because we're not trying to drag anybody through the mud.
Yeah.
But was there ever a celebrity you were like, I need you out of my chair, like now,
Yes.
because you're just,
Yeah.
would you write that off as a bad day, or you think there's some people just carry themselves?
Yeah, I
that-
think what was bad is she was nice to me, but she was rude to my assistant. And so anyone who's on my team, I want that same respect for all of us. And then
Yeah.
when she was mean to her, I was like, that's not cool. Like, don't be that way. Like, no.
Was
It
she
hurt her
open to your
feelings.
feedback, or was she like, what?
You know what? I think she was so into herself. She was just oblivious to even thinking
Oh,
like, oh,
wow.
well, whatever, like,
Yeah.
and she could tell I was disappointed in
Yeah.
the way her mannerism towards our team. And so, yeah, but I was clear. I was like, she's trying to help you,
Yeah.
she's trying to help you,
She's
but
part
she
of
was a
your
little
team.
bit, yeah, but she was just kind of snappy.
So
her.
so this is the part that I see, and I don't know, it's not just a Hollywood thing, but also kind of a corporate thing, where you have certain individuals who know who's in charge, who can do something for me, etc.
Mhm.
And all their positive energy, manners, and good demeanor is dedicated to that one or two individuals, and then everyone else gets the rude treatment. It's very strategic, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, Susie's in charge, so I'm gonna be super polite to her. But if the makeup, hey, put that, it's
Yeah. Like if the assistant isn't anything of
yeah,
worthy
yeah.
of-
It's like, hey, we're all human beings in this room.
Yeah.
That was the part that I had a hard time accepting in my little Hollywood time, and also in the corporate world,
Mm-hmm.
is that people were selectively kind to certain individuals. So it was more strategic. It wasn't a genuine kindness because we're fellow human beings.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that guy's in charge and makes decisions. So I'm going to be my best version of myself to him. And that person who can affect my career, well, you're going to get treated a totally different way.
Yeah, and that's just a reflection of that individual who's insecure or who feels like they're more superior and they want to act like this person's in charge, so I'm going to be more respectful to this person. That's not being genuine. That's not a genuine
Yeah.
person, because if you're going to be cordial and polite and courteous to someone, you need to treat everybody the same, no matter their title, because titles come and go. Nobody knows what my title is. You don't know that I own this company, but you don't know that she could have owned it last week. Like, and when people are like that, that's not good. It's like, that's a reflection of them. And we as individuals have to overcome people who are rude to us or dismiss us. When they're dismissive, I look at it as, you're having a bad day or you have a lot going on. So I'm going to say a prayer for you. And then I'm going to let you get into your own thoughts and recognize that you're not going to treat me that way, because I don't have time for this. I have other people in my circle who respect me and treat me the way I deserve to be treated. That's it, period.
Yeah.
And that's how it
Well
has to
said.
be. That's
Well
how it
said.
has to be, because sometimes people are just, negative in their own ways. And I try not to look down on anybody because they're negative, but if they're disrespectful and rude to me, then I just am like, okay, that's on you. You're having a bad day, and I can't accept that energy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to accept it. Yeah.
So, wow. No, that's well put. I think I'm going to take that on. I want to go back to all these different things that you've done, right? And one that I was surprised, I think I just learned it like right before we sat down, was voiceover work.
Yeah, so there for a little bit, I worked for Buckley Broadcasting, and they had two studios, one in Fresno and one in Visalia. So I worked with B Down and Tommy Del Rio, I think is his last name. He was the marketing manager then, but it's Q97.
Q90, love
Q97.
Greg and Dre, were they around at the time?
Yeah, I believe
and
so.
Kimmy.
And Kimmy. And
Is Kimmy back? I think Kimmy's back, huh?
I don't know.
What's up, Kimmy? I follow Kimmy on Instagram.
Oh.
She has great stuff going on. But I think I saw her back in the Q97 studios. I was there
cool.
briefly for an interview once when I was trying to get this library off the ground, this project I was doing in my hometown.
Oh, okay.
So I was in there for like an hour
Why
one
am
time.
I moving this like I have long hair? Oh, shoot. Anyways, I'm with my pixie. Okay, go on.
But I love the energy they had there.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun.
And it was the only radio station where they were like, hey, the interview was done like, hey, you can hang out for a little while if you want. And I was
yeah.
like, really?
That's cool. Yeah.
And so you were there and you were doing voiceover.
voiceovers. Yeah, for commercials.
How did you decide to try that? Or did you get
one of my friends worked there, and then she was like, "This is like the best opportunity. You're so awesome. You could write commercials and be in commercials and voiceovers and everything." And I'm like, okay. So I just thought I'll just do something. I don't know why I just shifted there for a minute, and I went into that life of radio, which is different and crazy.
Yeah.
I think that working with just, that crew was fun and adventurous because, it's a lot of club working. And
oh, so you're at the clubs?
Yeah, because I was a host for 99.7 Classic Rock.
Oh, okay.
So when they asked me to be a host, I would have to go to like different clubs and be there. And
what was that like?
Oh, it was crazy. Like I was the one on the mic and telling everybody to come out to do the dance competition and all that kind of stuff. You'd
be the host.
I was the host for the night.
Hey, everybody, come on out.
Yeah.
Did you go by SUZI Q or would you go by?
Yeah. Well, most people called me SUZI Q then too.
All right.
So, but yeah, or SUZI, but a lot of people called me SUZI Q. But yeah, I would just, and especially with 99.7 because it's classic rock and, then I got introduced to the team at Tachi Palace because I would do some of their commercials. I was in some of their commercials, like TV commercials.
How long ago was that? The Tachi thing? The
Tachi thing was probably back in 2000, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, they've grown.
2001.
I was talking to Jim about approaching Tachi at some point.
Yeah.
Because here. You know what? We're going to throw it on the channel.
Don't be talking about Tachi. Did he tell you I work at Eagle Mountain Casino now?
Oh, you do?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. You can talk about Tachi.
No. Here's what I'll say about Eagle Mountain. They were the only ones to bring Belle Biv DeVoe to the Valley.
Okay. So
and I was like, I want to go to that. I've never been there.
You need to go check it out. You're going to love it.
So they have a concert venue. Now, okay. Can we do a little controversy?
Yes.
So I heard... It's about a month or two ago. Jim, jump in if you remember this. That George Lopez came to Eagle Mountain.
Yes, he did.
Started his act, got upset, and walked out in the middle of his show. Is this true?
Yes, he left early because.
Are you still with Eagle Mountain now?
Yes.
So were you around for this?
Yes, I was.
What was the deal?
So he was upset because some girl who was just living her best life said that she wanted to offer him a drink. And that she loved him. And he was upset about it.
What?
I know, but she said it two times. And he was like, at first, we thought he was joking. Like, if you watch the video, you could see him say, okay, I'm telling you right now, that's one. And then she's like, I want to buy you a drink. And then she
kept interrupting him, though.
Yeah, interrupting his act.
Yeah.
Did you see the video?
Yeah, I saw the video.
And so it was like the third time he just said, that's it, I'm out. And then he just left. Instead of saying, let me have my security take this girl out because she's a little tipsy.
Or have her bring my drink up here and I'll drink.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't, I don't think he drinks anymore.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, with his kidney transplant and that whole story. But he, I don't think he drinks anymore. But he he could have handled it differently. And he was using a lot of curse words left and right. That weren't even recorded, that were recorded from in-house.
Oh, directed at her?
Directed at the guests.
Oh,
calling names. And those videos weren't released because we have surveillance.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it was just handled wrong. He could have been that's part of the game. He's been in it long enough. He should know. What's he getting all sensitive about?
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
man,
you got to handle it.
When I first saw George Lopez, Kings of Comedy shows back in the Bay Area, he was one of the first guys. I was like, man, he's talking about my family. This is funny. Yeah. And I really fell in love with his act and what he did. And I want to say the last 5 to 10 years, it's been really sad for me to see what it's become.
Yeah, it's been more political.
And I want to say the Eagle Mountain was my last.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, George.
But we made good on that situation. And so everyone received a refund. And then they also received a ticket to a future concert of their choice.
Eagle Mountain.
Thank you.
There we go, Eagle Mountain. That's how you handle a situation. Can we get a DJ? There it is. There it is.
See, there we go. But
no, that's That's awesome. And so I also heard that you guys brought in Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah, Paul Rodriguez actually reached out to us and said
I
he
love that
wanted
guy.
to do a show because he wanted to make good of it too. Because
Did he come yet, or is he?
Yeah,
coming?
he already
Dang,
came
we
on a
missed it.
Sunday. Yeah,
I would love to see him.
he came out and like it was so well received, and he was so generous. He said if we met capacity, he would do a second show that night. But we met capacity. We didn't have to do a second show. So I just thought that was nice of him
Yes.
to offer to stay to do a second show. But he's just a class act. He's so cool, and he loves the Valley. And
He's from here,
yeah,
right?
and he's
Yeah.
from the Valley, and he's such a good guy.
Did you get a chance to meet all the talent?
Sometimes I do. I don't. Not. I'm a community liaison coordinator, so
Yeah.
I work in the community with different boards, donation sponsorships for the casino in the capacity of that
Yes.
role. But it depends on the concert. Sometimes I may, be able to meet a celebrity.
Do you have a
with
favorite
meet and
that you run
greet.
into?
Not really like anyone in particular, but
You liked Paul.
yeah, definitely.
So here's a question, because I know there's other nonprofits and organizations out there. Do you guys do like a community breakfast type thing? Because I know that
we don't.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have a nonprofit out in Stratford, and that helped us a lot to be
Oh,
able to get our
good.
name out there. Was do a community breakfast that was sponsored or hosted there,
Yeah.
with the Tachi facility, right?
Isn't that wonderful? I know. I remember back in the day, I used to go to those breakfasts. Do they still have them?
I think since COVID, I haven't heard because they shut
Okay.
down that bingo hall.
Yeah.
So you used to go to those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Because I mean, I've always been involved in the community.
Oh
so
yeah,
I
you've
would
been the
always
board
support.
of at least every existing.
I think so. My goodness. But yeah. So that's no. I mean, the tribes support other tribes. I'm just messing with you when I say,
What tribe is Eagle Mountain?
the Tule River tribe.
Tule River tribe.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to go out there. How where is it? Is it in Porterville? Is it on
It's
the
in
outskirts?
Porterville. It's like 7 minutes from downtown Porterville. It's not up on the reservation anymore, which used to be like up in the mountains. It's a
Yes.
45-minute drive.
I
up
heard
there.
it was a scary drive.
Yeah, it was pretty scary because it's like one road,
Yeah.
literally. So, but no, it's downtown. It's like literally 7 minutes from downtown Porterville. It's right off 65.
We're headed to Eagle Mountain.
Right off 65, turn right on Scranton, and then you turn on west, and it's right there
Is that currently where you're at now? As the community liaison for?
for Eagle Mountain Casino. Yes.
Wow. After that whole.
Yeah.
So-
Mhm. So I sold my collection in 2009, my cosmetic line.
Oh, you did.
Yes, I sold out of that. And mostly what the places I sold my line was like at plastic surgeon offices with doctors, and then dance studios. I would sell to them for their dancers who would go on stage,
Yeah.
and then cosmetology schools. And that's how that door opened up with Milan. Selling, I would go in as to present my makeup and techniques and certify the students, and then they hired me to be
Yeah,
an
because
instructor.
yeah, you're a natural
Mhm.
when it comes to education.
Yeah, and so,
So you-
all that, everything is all now combined into my role as the community liaison for Eagle Mountain Casino.
Eagle Mountain.
Yeah,
They're lucky to have Susie Q.
thank you.
So I know that you have the book. I know that you have your body of work, and I know you have a myriad of lessons that you probably share with your motivational speaking.
hmm
At this point in life, what would you say would be the most valuable piece of advice you could share with people, and specifically our audience?
Yeah, so I would say any challenge that you come across doesn't define you, and to not let a setback that you think is a setback hold you back from accomplishing your goals. And really think about your HABES. It's something I teach in my emotional intelligence class that I've been teaching for the last 15 years. And that's your HABES, which is you develop like by the time you're 8 years old. Those are your habits, your attitude, your beliefs, and your expectations. So if your habits are bad habits, they're going to eventually tie into your attitude, right? So if you have bad habits, it's going to tie into your attitude. And if you have a bad attitude, you're not going to have a strong belief in yourself. And then that follows into your expectations. If I don't believe I can accomplish this, then my expectations are set at this level. If my beliefs are at this level up high, my expectations are going to follow suit. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to settle for anything less. And that's how I see it in all my roles throughout my life. I've always followed those. How are my habits? Are my habes leading me towards success, or are they leading me away from accomplishing my next goal?
That's another book right there. I want to be in that class. We're going to have to talk more about that class off camera, because I need to learn this stuff so I can impart it. This is very empowering.
Yeah.
Susie, do you feel like you're a role model to anybody? Because you're impressing us back and forth.
Thank you. Sweet. No, I definitely want to be a mentor to student, like have mentees surrounding me. I always feel like anybody who has questions about anything, my door is always open to sit with them and talk to them about how did you do this or how did you do that. But definitely I feel like I'm a role model because I've set certain goals and I've reached them. And I feel like I always say, if I have the key to open a door that someone's been trying to get in for so long, come talk to me and I'll help you with that key. And so many people are key holders and they hold on to them tight. And sometimes
Why do you think that is?
I don't understand it. I don't understand why some people are like that.
Like a gatekeeper, right?
Yeah, like a gatekeeper. I'm a connector.
Yeah.
I will connect you. If I know somebody that's going to help you get to the next level, I'm going to connect you to that person. And I would hope that someone would do the same for me. And so that's the type of energy and, role model I want to be, because I would hope someone would do the same for me. So that's that in that capacity, in that question. Yeah, for sure. I do feel like I'm a role model to different people in different ways.
I feel like pitching my next idea to Susie right here.
She'll probably help you solve it.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Man.
I'll try my best.
All right. So SUZI Picaso Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being a part of our show today.
Yeah.
And man, we're going to have to bring her back.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more to go.
Yeah. I mean, I know it was a lot. We talked a lot about everything. I do want to just tie in one last thing.
Oh, no, please do.
This year, I'll be celebrating 17 years sober. And I'm so happy. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm just grateful that my husband stuck through some of my challenging times.
Yes. Shout out
as
to your
having
husband.
having this strong personality. Some men may be threatened by it or
Yes.
feel a little intimidated. And fortunately, we've been able to work through some things.
What's his name?
Joe Gonzalez.
Joe Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe Gonzalez for being a strong foundation for SUZI.
Yeah, he's awesome. And
Appreciate
then we
you,
have
Joe.
2 daughters together, and the girls are married, and I'm blessed. My family, I'm so blessed with my grandchildren, our 3 grandsons. So I just had to put that little plug in there because I've been, it's been a journey, but I'm grateful for my family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family's everything. So thank you once again, audience. Jim's going to yell at me if I don't do this. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Yes, please.
100.
We gave you guys some gems today.
And share.
And share. And the book is called
The Superwoman Entrepreneur.
The Superwoman Entrepreneur.
Get it on Amazon.
On Amazon. We'll provide the link in the description for anyone to check that out. And I think there needs to be another book that dedicates itself to the, what'd you call it? Habes.
Yes.
Habes is a book.
Your Habes. It's everything.
Habes by SUZI Q.
Yeah.
That's the next book.
Attitude, belief, and expectation.
Yes.
Check it. Check your Habes.
And where would you recommend if I'm out in the Porterville area and I want to do a little bit of gambling or some entertainment? Like,
I would definitely say come to Eagle Mountain
Oh,
Casino.
Eagle Mountain.
Yes.
Okay. Eagle Mountain Casino. Shout out.
Yay.
Thank you once again. Well, this is RobLive, and we appreciate you guys. It's another episode, and we end all episodes the same way. With SUZI Q here today, it's going to be love, peace, and chicken grease. This is RobLive, and we're out.